I've finally done it. I've bought the tag heuer that I've been going back and forth for so long. And here we are at the tag heuer boutique to pick it up, and I'm ecstatic to add it to the collection. If you're one of the few who have watched my previous videos, this took me 6 months now to decide. I've met multiple people in other boutiques who has advised me not to get a tag heuer, but I guess it boils down to what you really like, and this specific tag heuer has been calling me for months, and I'm not gonna ignore it anymore. So let's take it home and get a closer look at it. This is my second tag heuer, and the box that it comes with is exactly the same as my Aqua Racer. But what matters is what's inside. This is the tag heuer Carrera, more known as the glass box. This is 39mm in diameter, lug width of 20mm, lug to lug of 46mm, thickness of 14mm, and a really nice curved case which makes it more wearable than it already is with its 39mm case. And that protruding glass box sapphire crystal is just beautiful. I find it mesmerizing because you don't see it often in a watch. I also love the perforated leather strap. I think it matches the whole racing DNA of the timepiece, and it makes it extra exciting to wear. Although the first issue of the watch is its rotor. It's the loudest that I've ever had so far, and since I wear my watch even at night, I could hear the movement's swooshing sound. Now let's take a much closer look at the dial. I love everything about it. The inner dial cuts perfectly in the middle of the giant blocks of indices, the white small dials and its circular lines, the faux patina lume dots in hands, the curved tachymeter on the outer dial, and the tag heuer shield logo with the Carrera name. The date at 12 o'clock, which may or may not be a second issue about this watch. For me, it's unique and I like it. But as for its real-life functionality, well, it is not the best place for the date. The chronograph hand partially blocks the date. You have to tilt the watch a little bit or use the chronograph to make way for the date, because you'll want to make sure that you get that 80 hours of power reserve. Which leads us to a major issue that really disappointed me. I'd like to think that this is an isolated case, but I think for those like me who has held back or has been holding back to pull the trigger on this watch, it's a grave point for consideration before you fire away and swipe that card to buy this. But before we delve into that, let's take a look at how it wears on my 6.5-inch wrist. The best thing about the fit is the leather strap can be adjusted to your exact wrist size. Since it doesn't use pin and holes, it's a clip-on or clamp closure buckle, so you can adjust it precisely. The leather strap is also really supple. You don't need to break it in or twist and bend it to get it to wear comfortably. The 39mm case and 46mm lug-to-lug makes it small enough for my wrist, but the exclusion of a bezel and down-sloping tachymeter gives the dial a bigger presence. An overall, well-balanced dimension, and its white small dials pops even more being surrounded by its black main dial and black leather strap. But what about the lume? Well, it's not that great. The chunky polished indices has some faint reflection, but in total darkness, the lume dots are not the easiest to see. And to add more excitement in adding the new family member in my watch box, I got a free bracelet which I am really happy about, because it doesn't come cheap and I think it looks just as good on the bracelet as it does on the leather strap. It brings out more of its vintage bloodline and also gives the watch a much bigger presence on the wrist. The bracelet is extremely flexible, having short middle links that just gently contours to my wrist. The polished areas of the bracelet used to really bother me, but I am starting to appreciate a subtle bling on my watches. I think as long as it's still wearable on a daily basis, it would be on the lineup for my future watch purchases. I love the bracelet too much that I even changed my other watches to their original bracelets. And it's just really satisfying when even a little change can spark your enthusiasm up, because I'll be honest, there are days when I look at my watches and think, do I really need all this? But this tag heuer lit that fire back again, and I realized how much I've taken my watches for granted. After all, I've worked really hard to get them and they remind me to keep going so I can get another one. But going back to the major problem, I have unfortunately sent this watch back 2 times in the span of only 3 months because it doesn't reach its indicated power reserve of 80 hours and it stops even when I was wearing it continuously. The first time I got it checked, I was told it was working properly, so I monitored the watch again, but this time for about a month, and it still kept on stopping, and the furthest that it has reached was 64 hours. And that's also from winding it 50 times. That's also the reason why it took me a while to post a video about the watch, and it's currently at Tag Heuer Service Center. So we'll see what happens this time. And for its price point, and even if it's a watch that's on the lower end of its dollar value, it's still unacceptable to have this kind of flaw. Although the service given during its assessment and repair is as great as the process of me getting the watch, it's just extremely disappointing to have this watch get its surgery in its infancy life. So I really wish that this is, as I said, an isolated case because I don't want Tag Heuer to get more hate than they already have because I love the brand. It's one of the brands that started my love for watches. Having said that, I still love it. In my eyes, it has one of the best blueprint for a chronograph that there is. I'm just unlucky to have the one watch out of hundreds to have this issue. And it's a dream come true for me, just from looking at Tag Heuer on someone's wrist when I was a kid to wearing and owning one now. Well, owning 2. My Aqua Racer is my first one and it works perfectly. So I'll give an update as soon as I get the watch back, hopefully working properly this time. Now that begs for the question, would I still consider Tag Heuer in the future? Absolutely yes. Would this be my last Tag Heuer purchase because of this incident? Absolutely no. Nothing's perfect, and if you love something, other people's opinion helps in deciding, but at the end of the day, it's yours that matter. And also having luck on your side to get the good ones help. I hope this helped in getting you to decide, and I'll see you on the next one.